Disclaimer: all my videos are for educational purposes only. I am teaching and explaining investment trading to everyone, but I am not giving out any advice. All investments are subject to market risks, so please evaluate carefully before you invest, as you may lose your investment.
Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of this video. So for those of you who haven't already seen part 1, why are you guys still here? Please check out part 1 immediately, as you will not understand what's going on in this video at all. No, I'm just messing with you guys. You do not have to have seen part 1 to understand what this video is about, but it is highly preferable as you will learn a lot about mergers, what mergers are, why companies actually undergo mergers, and what happens behind the scenes. So do check out part 1 of this video immediately after this. So jumping on to today's video, we are going to be talking about acquisitions. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what exactly are acquisitions, why companies feel the need to acquire another company, and some examples of acquisitions which have happened in the recent past. As well as I'm going to be talking about a very specific and very interesting thing related to acquisitions later on in the video. So please do check it out. I have given chapters down below, so do check the chapter on SPACs. So let's jump right in and let's first figure out what exactly is an acquisition. So to start off, let's find out what exactly is an acquisition. So an acquisition is when one company purchases most or all of the shares in another company to either gain control or to assimilate that company into their own. Now, there are several reasons why a company actually tries to acquire another company or feels the need to even acquire another company. Now, sometimes what happens is an acquiring company may be seeking economies of scale or diversification or wanting to get a bigger market share in that industry, or otherwise to increase the synergies between the two companies, otherwise to try and reduce their cost, or to offer a new niche to their consumers. But sometimes some companies try to acquire another company to enter that company's market area, or they try and acquire a particular technology or service that company is providing, which the acquiring company themselves want to provide to their consumers. So they feel that instead of building a new platform or trying to spend money in building that particular technology, they feel that it is easier to acquire the company which has already built that platform so that they can use that and provide that to their consumers. So now an acquisition can be one of three kinds: either an acquisition of an all money deal, or an acquisition with an all shares deal, or otherwise the acquisition can be with a deal of a mixture of shares as well as money. Now I will be going through these in more detail while giving examples of acquisitions, so please do check that out as well. So now let's move on and now talk about a very important thing, which is the difference between an acquisition and a takeover. So now let's move on and now talk about the difference between an acquisition and a takeover. Now, even though a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, and a lot of people believe that they are one and the same thing, but honestly they are not. So you do need to know the difference between the two. Now, in a normal acquisition, what happens is that one company tries to acquire another company, but this is an amicable transaction. Whereas in a takeover, what happens is that one company is trying to acquire another company, but in this case, it is not an amicable one. Now I'll explain in detail what each one means. So going first for acquisitions, let's take company A wants to acquire company B. Now in this case, the company B's board of directors feel that this acquisition is good for the company, so they believe that they should get acquired by company A, so that even though the fact is that company B will not have a separate identity. However, when they get acquired by company A, their business will expand much more than what they could do standing alone. But in a takeover, often known as a hostile takeover, from the name itself suggests that even though there is a company A who wants to acquire company B, for some reason, company B's board of directors feel that this is not a good acquisition, maybe not the right time to get acquired, or maybe this is not the company they should get acquired by, or several other reasons. But the company B's board of directors feel that company A is not a good fit for them and they should not get acquired by company A. Now, many of the times, what happens in these takeovers is when company A is trying to fight to get company B acquired and under them, whereas company B is trying to fight to be on its own terms, what happens is sometimes company B calls in something known as a white knight, which is, let's say, a company C. They call them, and company B requests company C to acquire company B because the company B's board of directors feel that maybe it's the right time, or they feel that company C is a better fit for company B to get acquired by versus company A acquiring company B. I hope you guys aren't getting sleepy, because in this segment, I want to talk about a really special and fascinating thing related to acquisitions known as Special Purpose Acquisition Corporation, or spell it with me, SPACs. Well done. So now these Special Purpose Acquisition Corporations are also known as blank check companies for a reason. They are companies which are formed with immense money put into them, and they trade publicly on the stock exchange with the sole purpose of getting acquired by a company which is looking to go public. Now, this is often considered an alternate route versus doing an IPO because a lot of companies feel this is a much easier option. Now, I will be explaining the differentiation between IPOs and SPACs in my next part of the video about IPOs, and I'll be talking a lot about them in depth because this differentiation is a massive thing you need to understand. So do look forward to my next part, but I will want to give you an example just to explain what exactly these SPACs are. So to give you an example, I'll talk about DraftKings, which have recently come into news. They are a fantasy sports betting company kind, and they acquired an SPAC known as Diamond Eagle Acquisition Corporation, which at that time, when it was just an SPAC, it was valued at $500 million. And then this happened in the first half of 2020. So now I hope you've really understood a little bit about acquisitions and what they are. But if you still haven't, don't fret. I'll try and clear some of it up by giving you some examples of acquisitions in the recent past. So over here also, I'm going to talk about 3 different acquisitions. So the first acquisition I want to talk about is of Google acquiring YouTube. So now in October of 2006, Google announced that it was going to be acquiring the video sharing platform YouTube in an all-share deal of $1.65 billion of Google stock. So I want to give you a fun fact about this, is that Google had acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion back in 2006. But now, 2020-2021, YouTube makes $1.65 billion in ad revenue in just 3 weeks. Talk about the return on your investment, or on Google's investment. So now, the second acquisition I want to talk about is Apple acquiring Beats Electronics and Music. So in May 28th, 2014, Apple announced that it was going to acquire Beats Music, which is the music streaming platform they had, as well as the Beats Electronics, which used to create the iconic Beats headphones and earphones, in a mixture of a stock and a money deal. So Apple agreed that it is going to acquire Beats for a total sum of $3 billion, in which 2.6 billion was as an initial purchase and the rest 400 million was to be vested over time. So now the last one on my list, Salesforce acquiring Slack Technologies. So in December 2020, Salesforce had announced that it was going to be acquiring the workplace software company Slack Technologies in a cash and stock deal of $27.7 billion to face the coronavirus pandemic and the bout of people working from home. So shareholders of Slack Technologies will be given 26.79 in cash as well as 0.0776 shares of Salesforce for every share of Slack they held. So now as you can see, there are different types of acquisitions which have happened. Some companies acquire other companies to either expand their business or to try and tap into other areas or other resources. But if you've noticed, I mentioned deals of either all stock deals or a mixture of stocks and cash. So now I want to give this up to you as my audience. I want you to find out some acquisitions which have happened in the recent past where it was an all money deal, because I've not talked about that. So I would really love to see whether you can come up and research and find out some companies which have acquired other companies in an all money deal, all cash deal in the recent past. So do hit me down in the comment section below and let's see who finds out how many companies which have done these kinds of deals. Hey guys, it's time for me to take your leave, temporarily though. I hope you really enjoyed this video today about acquisitions, and I hope you got to learn about acquisitions, what they are, why companies feel the need to acquire other companies, and what is the difference between an acquisition and a takeover, and the special kind of acquisitions of SPACs, and as well as some examples of acquisitions which have happened in the recent past, as well as the question I gave to you as the audience. So I really hope you enjoyed that and you learned a lot from this video. So now in my next part, my last part of this 3-part video, I'm going to be talking about IPOs, and this is the traditional route which most companies take to go public. So I'm going to be talking about IPOs, what they are, why companies do this, and what is exactly involved in this entire thing. So do look forward to my next part, but until then, stay tuned, take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.